Yeah, I can give you a couple of examples about how in Afghanistan, when you don't appreciate the culture, the difference between the cultural views, there are generally repercussions. One is when somebody told me that an individual was really upset about dogs that were being killed on night raids. And these dogs were being killed not for the sake of killing dogs, but simply because they would often bark and alert Taliban to where the coalition forces would be. So they had to be sort of neutralized in that moment. And one of the Afghans came up after and said, you know, I'd rather you kill one of my kids rather than my dog. And that was absolutely shocking to the person who told me the story, who was thinking, why are we even there if that's their point of view, that they'd rather one of their children being shot rather than their dog. And then I talked it through with the person and we came up with an alternate view. And that was that, you know, maybe what he was stressing was the importance of dogs to their livelihood. A well-trained dog is really hard to come by. It's good for protection of the family. It helps with livestock. So it's very valuable. And perhaps what he was trying to say was really, you know, if you kill one of my kids, or if you kill one of my dog, you're more likely preventing me from being able to take care of my whole family, and it's going to have a bigger impact than even killing one of my kids, which is horrific. And so it was just his way of communicating. And when we came to sort of that alternate conclusion, saying, well, maybe it was, as he said, at face value, but more probably it was really to emphasize a point. The degree of empathy and the ability to come up with alternate solutions to solve the problem was immediately there. So just not understanding what the issue was really about, not being able to empathize, caused a huge amount of problems. And on another example, the Afghans were often being interrogated by coalition forces, and sometimes these interrogations would take numerous hours and only end in the middle of the night. And so teenage boys tended to be a high target group for the coalition forces to interrogate, simply because they represented a large number of people in the insurgency. And one of the Afghan elders had told coalition forces, you know, you need to make sure that these children are home by dark. And the Americans and coalition forces understood what that meant, but they didn't really understand the importance of home by dark. They had offered them rides home after, which no one took, so they thought they'd done their due diligence. But what they didn't realize, that the rape of young men is common in Afghanistan, and more importantly, if these young men are thought to have been violated, they could lose all their social status and be shunned by their families. So if these men came home in the middle of the night with no one to account for their whereabouts, it was quite possible that they would be shunned, and then looking and joining the insurgency could be a good option.